Potatoes, goats, and the logic of place. Rethinking water, labor, and livestock on a dry New Mexico hillside. Written and read by yours truly, Oakie McDoakie. Screw ups and all. My original plan for Hippie's End was simple enough: grow potatoes and keep a couple of milk goats, just in case of, sensible staples. Irish logic on a New Mexican hillside. Over time, the potatoes have drifted out of the picture, along with their successors, sunchokes. The goats may still come in. The quail are already here. Maybe rabbits someday. The shift hasn't been ideological, it's been experiential. Where I live on Towsa's West Mesa, the land has always told people what it prefers. For generations it was grazed, first by wild game, then by sheep and cattle. It was never a place of orchards or maize fields. There's a reason for that. There's no surface water. The mesa averages only about 13 inches of precipitation a year, snow included, and even that swings wildly. The Rio Grande runs nearby, but hundreds of feet below in the gorge, the wells here must punch through immense layers of volcanic rock before they find anything drinkable. Water exists, but not easily and not cheaply. That's the land I live on. And that reality, more than any theory about efficiency or self-sufficiency, is slowly shaping the evolution of Hippie's End. Scientists will tell you that a calorie of plant food takes less water than a calorie of animal food, on average. Just like plant calories take less land and energy, on average. They're right. But I don't live in average land. I live at Hippie's End, a small holding on a rocky, arid, extremely sunny, south-facing, windy hillside. I grew some experimental potatoes for 3 summers and sunchokes for 1. Did okay for a beginner, but they were thirsty, even with thick mulch. And where did that water come from? I had to truck it in from the community well, then spread it around by hand, again and again. It was a lot of time, a lot of effort, and if I'm honest, an aggravation. By last fall, I'd had enough of gardening. So I spent this winter reconsidering. What might work better? What could I tolerate? What I could still do in my elder years and what might matter most in hard times. Also over the winter, I kept thinking about the Coturnix quail I brought home last fall. On paper, they make no damn sense. They have to be tended every day. Their droppings get everywhere, despite a fancy cage. Their feed and other inputs are expensive, about $7.50 for the equivalent of a dozen chicken eggs, not to mention the initial outlays for the cage, birds, and equipment. At one point, I was ready to sell them and their cage and wash my hands of the whole affair. But then I fell in love with the little chippers. And their eggs, delicious, speckled, far superior to anything at the grocery store. No doubt thanks to that same fancy, pricey feed. There's something spiritual there, too, a kind of communion. Me taking care of them, them taking care of me. A deeper nourishment. The funny thing, despite my griping, is that they don't actually take much work. Nothing an old man can't do. 10 or 15 minutes a day. They occupy a 2x3-foot patch of floor on the shed. They convert a small stream of store-bought feed into a steady supply of protein and fat. They brighten my day. These days, I'm eating more eggs than meat. They're staying. The numbers be damned. And that realization nudged me back toward the idea of dairy goats. They wouldn't add that much more work, not if I kept them in a pen. 30 minutes max, probably less. I'm thinking 2 Nigerian dwarf does, about the size of medium dogs at 50 to 60 pounds, easy enough to handle. Maybe name them Jan and Marcia. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia! I'll alternate their breeding, Jan 1 year, Marcia the next, to only have 1 in milk at a time. That'll let them recover, stay healthier, and live longer. 1 doe should produce about a quart of milk a day, which suits my needs. A dozen or more quail eggs per day, the equivalent of 3 to 4 chicken eggs, plus a quart of goat's milk would give me about a third of my daily calories and most of my daily protein and fat, all produced right in my yard. In normal times, I'd be physically and spiritually nourished at a modest cost. In more desperate times, eggs, milk, wild herbs, and store-bought and easily stored corn flour could sustain me. Gonna have to figure out some creative ways to keep milk and eggs from getting boring, though. Work them into a lot of different recipes? Otherwise, I want to be driven to spit roasting pack rats. Oh, and the water situation. My current roof catchment brings in roughly 1,700 gallons per year in an average season, supplemented with well water when I need it. Subtract what Sissy and I would drink, what's left is about 950 gallons annually for livestock. That 950 gallons could sustain the quail and 2 small goats, one in milk, producing between 800 and 900 calories per day in milk and eggs. Over the course of a year, that's around 300,000 calories, much of it protein and fat. To produce the same number of calories in potatoes would require something like 15,000 to 26,000 gallons of water, probably more, given the dry, windy summers up here. Less for sunchokes, but probably still over 10,000 gallons. That's a shit ton of water to truck in, or a great deal more roof to build. Either way, I'd have to install a big cistern. Not cheap. And that's before accounting for the land required, the soil I'd have to create. I have rocky dirt, not Iowa loam. And hours bent over irrigation lines, the back-breaking harvest, and the root cellar space I need to build and maintain. Beyond water, we're talking infrastructure, fencing, irrigation, storage, soil amendments. Sure, building a goat pen and buying feed would cost something too, and feed can be substituted by grazing, but the costs aren't even in the same order of magnitude. Here at Hippie's End, with less than 3 desert acres and an aging body, arable farming doesn't make a great deal of sense. Small livestock does. I'll leave grain, fruit, and vegetable farming to where they've got the water, far away while the trucks are rolling, or, if food economies devolve back to local, across the valley by Taos and the Sangre de Cristo, and north into south central Colorado. Not a perfect plan, but workable. I don't need Hippie's End to be an entirely self-sufficient fortress. I just need it to make sense, in this place, with this water, and with this aching back and aching hip, with enough flexibility for good times and bad. Enough is enough. If you like this, you can tip me on ko-fi.com/Oakie McDoakie or follow me on Substack and the socials. Just go to oakiemcdoakie.com. Until next time, don't let the bastards wear you down.